Hi, everybody. This is Andy Clark. I'm leading the International Business of Sports in London Spring Break Study Abroad trip this March. I'm going to spend a few minutes chatting with you guys about the program. Just a little background. If you're already signing on here, you've probably done a little research and read some of the stuff about it. So we're going to cover some of that. Also, let you know, we did this program for the first time in 2019. Actually going to London in pre-COVID times and had an amazing experience, and that's why we're going to continue through this with this here. And obviously here, the core of this, as you know, we're not going to London because we're not able to do so. But via that trip, we made some amazing contacts. We made some amazing people that even though we're not going to be there live, you're still going to be able to have the feeling of learning about the international business of sports for some really impressive people. And you're also going to connect with some impressive folks, both in London, in here in the US, that are very familiar with what's happening there, and amongst yourselves. This is going to be a great team building and bonding experience for the folks that are participating in the program. So to get started, a person you'll probably hear from, Phil Clement, who was the CMO at Aon, and many of you guys know Aon was the jersey sponsor for many years for Manchester United. At the time, it was the largest jersey sponsorship deal in the world. And Phil made that deal happen. He's now the CMO of Johnson Controls here in Chicago. And when he spoke with our class 2 years ago, something that he said really stood out. The education of sport is a study of the world. And that's what really is the core of this class. It really resonated with me that this is what this class is about. Because from his perspective, traveling all over the world, if you understand the culture, if you want to understand the culture of a country, the culture of people, how they interact and what their relationship is to sports, really helps you understand them much better. And that really made a difference with me. So a little bit in the nuts and bolts of this, what's the format of the class? It is over spring break. So just like in the past, it's going to be all day, every day for a week, Monday through Friday, full day sessions. I'll go in a few minutes how that's broken up via speakers and workshops and events. So it's not just going to be staring at your screen all day long, but it'll be very full days. We'll have a prep sessions later in the quarter, probably just one or two, probably for an hour and a half tops, so that when we hit the ground running on March 21st, you're ready to go and have all the background you need for that. So that's kind of the timing of it. So, and we may have, I'll add to that, over the course of that week, depending on our circumstances and what we're able to do, we may try to do a live session or two. We may do a viewing party at being able to watch a Premier League game together at a venue. We may have a live speaker, but that's all TBD. And we're building this course around the assumption that if that doesn't happen, the course is going to happen along just fine. What we're going to do, I just mentioned, you'll hear some from keynote talks. I'll touch on some of the people you'll hear from in a few minutes. We'll of course, you can't get away from, in the sports world, current issues that are happening in the world are very relevant to sports. You'll hear a panel discussion in that context. We'll do an interactive project. We'll do a project with you where you'll work with your peers on actually something that emanates from London, whether it be from the Premier League itself, from an agency. It'll be a very cool thing. I talked about watch parties, which we'll watch. You'll see some events, whether it be in front of your screen or together. You'll see some behind the scenes tours of venues. The picture I have here is Tottenham Stadium, just opened last year. If you're not familiar with the Premier League, but that's where the Bears played last fall. They played the Raiders. Obviously, they didn't come up on the winning end, but it's an amazing new stadium. You'll take a look at what that's about, and we'll see some things there. Some of the stuff will be recorded, some will be live. You have the opportunity to network, right? What's it all about? You hear networking all the time. You'll hear networking with some really important and impressive folks. And to top that off, a careers in sports workshop from one of the top career people in the world. So that's a quick hit on some of the things we'll be doing. What are the topics we'll cover? I often get questions. Is this a marketing program? Is this a communications program? It's all those things. And a student I just talked to the other day mentioned that, when we went to this in 2019, we had students who were in communications, had students who were in finance, students in accounting, students in marketing. they all got something different out of it. So the goal is that you'll hear from a wide range of disciplines. I'm not going to touch on each of these here, but you hear from a wide range of things, and you'll see that they're all kind of interconnected as well. They don't stand alone in a silo. So those are some of the things that you'll hear from and learn about over the course of the week. What you'll get out of it from a nuts and bolts perspective, it is a 4-credit winter quarter class, so it counts for the winter quarter. You do need to apply through the Study Abroad website by November 15th. There's a full application. Please go through and make that happen to be considered for the class. This will satisfy your experiential learning credit in just about every school, so that's a big plus. And there's actually, unfortunately, we're not going to London, but the benefit of that is that there's no cost or fees beyond the cost of tuition for the program. And lastly, a student actually came up with this quote, which I love, that you'll be able to experience the business world at your fingertips while expanding your network internationally. You'll learn about sports and be able to see that from things. So you're going to expand your horizons, whether you're interested in sports here in the US or overall, or you just want to learn about sports and business, how they connect. You don't have to have had other sports business classes or internships or whatnot. Your background as a DePaul student will enable you to succeed in this class. So just a quick look at some of the people we heard from. There's absolutely no guarantee that these are the exact folks you'll hear from this quarter, but these are the kinds of people you'll hear from throughout the week-long thing. Billy Hogan, very cool. When we met with him, he was the Chief Commercial Officer, that's kind of an international title for marketing and sales. We heard from him in Liverpool's London office. He's now the CEO of the team. Pretty amazing. So hopefully we'll hear, if we don't hear from Billy, we'll hear from some of his colleagues at Liverpool. We'll most likely hear from Neil Wood, MBE, member of the British Empire. He's been knighted, which is amazing. He was the CFO of the London 2012 Games, managed a $5 billion budget. The games were one of the first one in years to come out in the black. Tells an amazing story, both from a financial perspective, but also how the London Games and the Olympic Games can pull people together. And a focus of his talk is understanding the why and making sure if you understand the why of what you're doing, whether it be an event or sports or any situation, you'll do a good job. Eloise Tyson will visit Wimbledon, communications lead. You'll hear from different folks, probably one of the most iconic sports venues in the world. Trevor Watkins, who is kind of like our shaman to the world of London sports. He's the global head of sports at one of the leading one of the leading law firms in London, and we'll host a virtual panel. Here, the picture here is a live panel, but a virtual panel of international sports business. The people on the panel you see here, major media deals, major team deals and teams being bought and sold, okay? Athlete representation. Get a whole great insight into that, and just to how sports is involved in communities. You'll have great insights from there. As I mentioned earlier, Jimmy Worrell is the CEO of Leaders in Sport, which is, again with leaders, the leading sports conference in the world. I attended this live in London last year. I attended it virtually this past, just a few weeks ago. And it was amazing, the virtual thing. He has a great, great talk, which he'll interact with you guys on how to build a career in sports or anywhere else. Great networker, great person to connect with. He loves working with our programs. We're fortunate that he'll be part of this. A couple folks, actually, Alex Eckhout, the planning and projects manager at the Premier League, is actually from Barrington. Went to Illinois. He's been with the Premier League for 5 years. You'll love to hear our story. How going to high school in Northwestern Chicago, ending up in a key position with the Premier League. How does that happen? You'll hear her story about that. Hilla Knowlton, major international marketing agency. They work with Adidas, a number of Premier League teams and leagues. You'll hear their story, and we'll possibly do a project with them. Lindsay Eckhouse, who went to London as a with the NFL, and now she's the commercial director for G2 Esports, one of the leading esports teams in the world. So, and then lastly, Ken Christian, NBA vice president. So what's the NBA doing in London? They have close to 100-person office there. They manage all their all their events and promotions and programs and sponsorships throughout London. Actually, Kent actually just recently opened an office in Africa for the NBA. He's got a great story to tell how, the NBA, of all the American sports leagues, is by far the most international, right? And he'll talk to you how they make an impact, not just in the US, but worldwide. So that's a look at some folks that you'll hear from. Some other things we'll be doing, learning a little bit about the culture of London. If you want to get a head start on reading, a terrific book I read this summer that'll be part of our class, The Splendid and the Vile by Eric Larson, talks about Winston Churchill's first year as prime minister before World War II, really sets a foundation to what goes forward and how London was rebuilt after the war. You can't talk about London without afternoon tea, and we'll have some kind of afternoon tea, whether it be virtual or live. I found this on the internet. I love this little London Eye wheel thing here. And also, you can't look at London at London sports without connecting, right? And actually, here's a group of students from our program 2 years ago, connecting on their own at Fado, the pub in downtown Chicago, to watch a Liverpool match after they came back. So we'll definitely do some team building, whether it's virtual or live. We'll have a lot of fun doing that as well as part of the course. So that's a quick nutshell of what this is about. We're really excited about doing this. It'll be a great way to connect and interact with your peers. And, if some of you guys, if you're watching this, you've taken classes from me, so whether you have or not, 3 key tenets I always end up on regardless what class. And this certainly applies in an international setting. Learn what the inside of the sports industry looks like, how to pursue a career in sports business. I thought, like, hey, I like sports. How would I get a job? I don't know how to go about doing that. This is going to help you figure that out a little bit. And even if this is the only sports related class you ever take, there's going to be things you take away from this. Sports, business, society are all intertwined. You're going to get lessons from this. You're going to be able to take back into whatever career you're going to pursue. So to wrap this up, I'm going to quote Ross Matheson, who we met with, who I would hope to chat with again. He's the club manager. He runs the grounds at Wimbledon. Amazing responsibility. Good is very boring, but excellence takes a long time and is hard. We choose excellence. I hope that stands for this course as well. So if you have any questions, thank you very much for listening. Please reach out to me. Any questions about this? Happy to chat about this class or anything else. aclark32@DePaul.edu. And please connect with us on LinkedIn. Either connect with me directly and our DePaul Sports Business Network. Thank you very much, and hope to see you virtually in London in March. Thank you. Yeah.